Well, power generation in Nigeria has hit record highs of about 4,000 megawatts recently, and we have in the studio today to give us a perspective on what's going on the Honorable Minister of Power for Nigeria, Barth Nnaji. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. And I want to start by congratulating you.
Thank you.
By meeting that target. It's amazing what we've seen recently. Over the last few months, we've seen clearly some progress there, but many people are saying we're not where we need to be, but we'll get to that in a bit. Yes. But first of all, maybe you can just explain what exactly is going on. How come power generation has improved so much?
Well, a number of factors. The units are being maintained for a change. That is, the turbines are being maintained. Gas is improving. The water level has come to the level where we can maintain all year round. And those are the key factors.
Okay, but you just talked about water level. These are things
water level for
the hydropower.
Yes, but you see
plants.
Yes, you see, in the past they used to run the water. They used to run the hydros to the highest peak that they can during this season. We don't do that anymore.
Right.
We only go when you have excess water. Then we just run extra turbine. Otherwise, we just maintain a certain quantum of power year-round at the hydro power plants.
I've heard reports that we're on the verge of going to 9,000 megawatts. If we see some of those independent power projects being connected to the grid, can you comment on that? How likely is that?
Well, clearly, by the end of the year, we'll have available capacity close to that. But because of gas availability, we will still not be able to fuel that amount. But for sure, we're going to have significant improvement because the emergency gas project undertaken by the Ministry of Petroleum is yielding results. So there's no question that month after month going forward, we're going to be seeing improvement in
some people
power.
are already getting excited.
Yes.
You're talking about water levels and gas. So give us a sense of when we can be very comfortable with the level of service right now that we're seeing, because I think many people tell you in Lagos that in most parts generation or power supply is much more stable than it has been in several years.
Not just Lagos, Abuja, Kano, places, because just in March, supply to Kano was less than 50 megawatts. We have over 220 megawatts going to Kano now. Port Harcourt, Aba, so many places in the country have much better supply.
Right.
And it is going to continue that way. We are going to see less and less amount of fuel that people purchase. That is, we like to measure by diesel people purchase, more credit they purchase if they have prepaid meter. Obviously, increase number of hours per day that they get power, because people can't actually know what it means when you say you have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 megawatts. It's about how much power you actually get.
Absolutely.
How it touches your life.
Absolutely. And what can you say to SMEs in Nigeria? Because quite a number of them have to invest in backup power, in generators, etc. Yes. Should we now begin to start model going forward that we can expect power?
That's the bedrock of a nation, of a national economy.
Now, I know we're going to get it, but are you saying we're at that point already?
Yes.
You think?
Yes, they should begin to, they can now begin to take power and use power more reliably instead of having to have self-generation. This is what we expect should be happening in most cities in the country.
Okay, power has been described by many as the next big thing after telecoms. We know clearly the likes of MTN of South Africa have made so much out of the opportunity that the regulation in that sector provided. But give us a sense of your thoughts on that point. Is power the next big opportunity in this country?
Well, power is much bigger than telecoms by far, and it is already here. The bidding process for the privatization is just about completing. The bids have been submitted for generation of the power assets and distribution assets last July. They are under evaluation now. By October, we should be completing and declaring preferred bidders for all the power assets. There are 6 generation assets and 11 distribution assets in the country. And these are big assets.
Well, from the reports we've heard from the BPE, there's clearly some appetite for those assets. But let's talk about some of the challenges. I do know, for instance, and I've experienced it myself firsthand, the impact of the strikes that we've seen in the sector. I know that things are being somewhat deregulated right now, or segmented. So, if you like, Lagos, even Lagos, for instance, has been broken down into several distribution areas. The strikes that we're hearing there, how are we addressing those issues? Because it seems that they have some strong points to make here.
Strong points. Actually, well, we're engaging the unions.
Right.
Yesterday, the federal government had a meeting with the National Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, as well as the unions within the power sector in Abuja. And we came to, there's a kind of stalemate for now, but it's positive in the sense that we all agreed to make some concessions.
Right.
Okay, don't go on strike. We pay we continue what they had been requesting just for the month of July.
Right. And
beyond that, we now begin to continue our negotiation. We believe that that once people are thinking about the law of the country, that sense will prevail in the final analysis, and we will begin to make progress.
So what do you say to investors who are hearing all this?
Oh, investors, this is the place to invest. In the power sector of Nigeria, there's no question that, in fact, the vote of the investors who submitted bids, 54 bidders submitted bids for a distribution, 25 for a generation. That's more than we expected. So they understand that ultimately the issues pertaining to labor will be resolved. Those are the minor issues remaining.
We've heard some reports of how much the government is likely to make from this process of, privatization, and all things being equal, if we do see those power companies sold in October, can you give us a sense of the valuations? What can we expect? I know it's a bidding process, but can you just give any guidance on that point?
I can't give you a figure, but what I can tell you is that the significant, we will make quite a bit of money from each of the assets.
Right.
There are 17 that are being sold.
Right.
And each one, there's none that's less than $100 million.
Okay, looking ahead, we do know that the central bank has this intervention fund for the sector. Can you just give us a sense of deployment of those funds right now, or are we likely to see a lot more after October?
Well, the central bank fund had been wonderful, but what we are really trying to do now is to set up an infrastructure fund, a kind of maybe a bond.
Right.
And with this, we want to fund the big infrastructure initiatives like the transmission network, like gas infrastructure. These are critical for progress in the power sector. Yeah. And this is being worked on by the Ministry of...
For the bond you just mentioned, do you have a figure that you can share? What is the target for that?
Well, I would rather have the Minister of Finance announce it.
Okay, yes. Okay. So we did see some delays, though. Some will say slight delays. And in October, everyone is hoping that we'll finally get this done. This is going to be, what, the third or fourth attempt of privatizing the power sector in Nigeria. How assured can we be that we're going to get it right this time?
We're assured because everything now is within our control. Right. You see, before, it's no longer about the bidders doing something or transaction advisors delaying. It's now within the control of the Bureau of Public Enterprises and National Council on Privatization to take decisions. So the evaluation, they have a timeline, and that timeline is fixed. So, and the President has said that absolutely the process must complete according to schedule. So nobody is going to interfere with the schedule.
Right.
It's absolutely going to complete.
Well, we certainly hope so. Yes. Some people are already excited, and we look forward to it. Congratulations on progress made so far.
Thank
but
you.
Like I said, a lot of people are asking for a lot more. That's Minister of Power, Barth Nnaji, sharing an update on the power sector in Nigeria, giving us a perspective on the record high we're seeing today and, of course, what to expect going forward.